It doesn't matter the hero, it doesn't matter if they're your favorite. They have to take a loss. If the hero wins every fight, then what's the point of watching their story? It becomes predictable, it becomes boring. Things are always more interesting when a hero loses because how are they going to bounce back from this? I love fights, especially fictional fights, because no one actually gets hurt, and I love watching a hero fight because there's a chance they might lose. And the only way they can lose is if the threat they're facing is credible. In order to have that credible threat, the villain has to be strong, and there has to be something on the line. I always prefer fights because, you can lose a fight and come back from it. When Batman got his back broken by Bane, it was unheard of. Batman took an L this big? He was on the shelf, but his road back is what made the whole story interesting. Okay, Bane got one on him. How's he gonna get his lick back? It really is like booking a wrestling match, telling a story that's physical. In order for it to be believable, in order for you to believe there's stakes on the line, the hero has to lose sometimes. And I prefer it being a loss of a fight because all you gotta do to get better is get your skills up. They're stronger, alright, do I get my strength up? Or maybe I go with speed. Their skills are sharp here, alright, well I'll sharpen my skills over here. When Daredevil was fighting the assassin Ikari, it was incredible to me because I've never seen Matt Murdock pushed to the brink like this before. Someone that can match him hand for hand. Ikari was working Daredevil to the point where you see, oh, he's better. He's got the advantage. And that advantage was he had Daredevil's abilities, plus he could see. It was such a shock for the reader and Matt Murdock because Ikari left him leaking in his own blood. Another good example is the Daredevil Netflix series when he was fighting Bullseye. Bullseye was working him and he had to retrain himself. He realized, alright, he's got an advantage if I give him distance. I gotta close that distance. He went back to Muay Thai ropes, which he hadn't used since season 1. It's little intricacies like that that make a fight interesting to me because the hero's now fighting from the bottom. And in order for a story to go forward, they have to take the L. When Superman died from Doomsday, we saw just how big the stakes could be. Yeah, Superman won, but it cost him his life. It's a Pyrrhic victory. But that loss is what made the story better. The hardest losses are the ones where it's not a physical fight. When we look at the death of Gwen Stacy, that changed the game of comics entirely. Gwen Stacy, the love of Spider-Man's life, who we knew as a person beforehand, who was a well-rounded character, her own character, gets tossed off the Brooklyn Bridge by the Green Goblin, Peter's nemesis, and he goes to save her, and in doing so, he snaps her neck by accident. All this because of a choice Peter Parker made to help other lives as Spider-Man. That's what made Spider-Man so different among all the heroes of his time. My man suffered loss like no other hero before him. No other hero's love interest ever died before in comics. It was a first. Not only did it mark the end of the Silver Age of comic books, but it pushed us forward towards the modern age. It was a beautifully tragic story told, and honestly, to me, I think you could trace women being fridged to that moment, trying to recreate that moment, and folks not having the skill to do so because you gotta give women their own autonomy and agency. It can't always be, oh, with the proper prep time, or this person's a master in martial arts, or their powers will say, nah, man, let them take the L. This is why I'm big on sports mangas. Nobody dies, but when a team loses or when your favorite player loses, oh my god. I will never forget reading Hajime no Ippo and seeing Ippo Makanoichi lose a world match. Nobody died, but my man took an L. After all these years, I was devastated. Your boy was inconsolable for 2 weeks straight. Now, in terms of comic books, I'm not saying evil has to win at the end of the day. Yeah, the good guy can always win at the end, but they have to face an obstacle that's much bigger than them. I mean, Wolverine says he's the best there is at what he does, but Sabretooth always finds him on his birthday and whoops his ass and always claims, yo, you've never beaten me clean. Killmonger claims T'Challa never beaten him clean. You need villains that can talk that shit and also back it up. In my eyes, you always learn more about a person when they suffer a loss, because the journey in order to get over the obstacle is always the one that's more compelling.